What's up guys, it's the Spirit Guide, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the dimensions of consciousness. So there are many different levels of reality, and each level vibrates at a certain frequency, and we can transform ourselves to become any frequency, to radiate any frequency, to project any frequency, because we are literal, infinite beings, and we all have auras, which are electromagnetic fields. So we can shift our field, and by raising our frequencies we can go to different dimensions, and we can exist in those dimensions. And as we exist in those places and those pockets of reality through our thoughts, feelings, and actions, we can manifest different things. We can manifest more negative things if we are lower. If we are in a lower dimension, we are going to manifest negative things. If we are on a higher dimension, you will manifest positive things, joy, things that just give you that feeling, that energy. There are so many different things that play into vibrating at a certain frequency to a point where you are in a different dimension. But first I'm going to give some examples for things that are part of each dimension, so you can get a better understanding of what this actually looks like in real life. This isn't just like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo bullshit. This is real shit. So 1D is like things that are parasites, people that are just pure, just disgusting, like actually disgusting people. This has to do with murder, people who are murderers, and the frequency of murder, or sexual assault, things that are just, that's like 1D, like that's disgusting, like things that are actually horrible. That's 1D. 2D, that is the dimension where it's like you aren't even like a normal person. You are always negative. You could be in a very dark place. This has to do with like depression, suicide. It's lower than 3D. It's like a lower point. 3D is where you can actually function. 2D stuff is hatred, doing things just to do bad things, like just to hurt people, getting revenge. And those things, some of those things go into the 3D. So 3D, there's a lot of narcissists in 3D, just as in 2D as well. But there's narcissists in the 3D. There are also victims. There are more victims in the 3D than narcissists. More narcissists exist in the 2D, but they both have, some similar qualities to their vibrations. But in the 3D, people are usually just like the average person. People on the third dimension are like most people in the world. People who believe that you have to work at a job your whole life. People who believe that you have to work hard, really, really hard until you retire. People who believe that, you go to school, you go to college, you get a nice job, you hate your job maybe, but you have to deal with it no matter what. They are victims. And they are also just completely molded by their environment. They don't have self-autonomy. They don't have like the realization I can be above my environment. I don't have to act like everybody else around me is acting. Like 3D is super primal as well. It's just like sexual desire, pleasure, money. And money, when it's vibrating at the 3D level based on like who you are and what dimension you're in, you're gonna think of money as something that is hard to get. You have to get money. What can you do to get money and to get things and to get this person to love you? And there's a lot of unworthiness that is a part of the 3D because you don't believe you have like much control. You are always looking outward. You are always blaming things. That's a lot of the 3D stuff. 4D is where you realize there's a matrix. You realize psychology. You realize things about the world and the people around you. 4D is where you start to become more conscious. You're starting to gain wisdom, and you're realizing like, oh shit, like I'm in a matrix. I have to go within. I have to work on myself. I'm broken and I have to fix myself. And there also could be still like limiting beliefs and things that are blocking you from ascending while you're in 4D, because yes, you might value knowledge and you might be very wise in a lot of aspects and you might be above the 3D. So yes, there is some awareness in the 4th dimension, but it is when you get to the 5th dimension, that's when you realize that you are the creator of your reality. When you put your mind and your heart and your actions all in alignment to be on the same page of a positive desire that serves others. 5D is when you realize you work in co-creation with the universe. The universe is with you every step of the way because you are an expression of the universe. You are a soul inside of a human vessel, and therefore you can harness and tap into the infinite potential that is within you and use that to create anything you desire, to have any type of life you desire, and to be any avatar you desire. And 5D is just where everything changes. And then there's 60, 70, blah, 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 blah. So let's get into each of those dimensions more in detail. So I'm going to be referring to a few pages that are from the book on my website. It's a free book that you can download or print out. Here is page 26. So the 3rd density existence is characterized by being egocentric, self-serving. Your actions are based on fear. Your love is conditional, so you think of me versus them. You think of terms that are divisive. You think of like, I'm right and you're wrong. You're this and I'm that. And your view on the world is very based on separation, and that is farthest from the truth. Everything is one. The universe means one song, universe. The 3rd dimension also has to do with judging others and yourself, being competitive in like that same way where you just think of like me versus them. You are self-righteous. You identify with your physical body and your identity, and you believe that you can't change and you are just set in stone like that. You live in a world of scarcity. You do not trust. Your nervous system is fucking fried. It's in a fight or flight state. You are anxious. You are stressed. You are controlling, materialistic. You need security, emotionally charged and focused on the past and the future. So you are putting your energy too much in the past or living too much in the future. And you are reactive. So your external world literally affects your inner world, but the truth is your inner world is the cause of the external world. So who you are within is influencing everything on the outside, and everything on the outside of you is a mirror of who you are within, because that's how you're manifesting yourself. So everything that you manifest through your own self manifests like externally. So the 4th density existence is where you transition. That is the transformation period. It's like the bridge between the worlds. Because 5D is where you realize you are a soul in a vessel. 3D, you don't realize that. 4D is where you get to the mental plane and you realize that there is more to life than what meets the eye, you know? So this is when you have a spiritual awakening. This is when your consciousness expands to new levels. You are purging negative emotions. You are purging your belief systems. You are doing inner work, and you are changing physically. You're physically changing, and things are physically changing around you. But maybe if you're manifesting, there are still things from your past self, from your old life, and from the lower frequency still around. You are starting to have out-of-body experiences. You're starting to tap into collective consciousness. You're starting to get some telepathy, some psychic powers. You are thinning the veil, and you are realizing that everything is changing. Everything is changing. And you are realizing that you create things. You create your reality. And then when you get to the 5th density existence, that is when you are egoless. You are tapped into your soul and your higher self. You believe in service to others. Your actions are based on unconditional love. So your love isn't based on conditions. It isn't based on, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's unconditional. You are who you are, and you treat people the way you treat people. You have gratitude all the time, always. You are fearless. You don't believe in any limits. All limits and fears are illusions. You realize that everything is one. You realize that yourself is just part of the whole of everything. Manifestation becomes easy. You go with the flow, dualities dissolve, separation dissolves, and linear time dissolves. You are working on quantum time. You can literally get things done in a much faster time and in like a wormhole of the time frame that it would take somebody on the third dimension to do that same thing. The only time is now, and that's what people in the 5D realize, is that the only time is this time in the present moment, and it's how you use every present moment and how that stacks on each other throughout this matrix of physicality. That's what creates results. Valuable things require development over time, like huge dynasties and empires and generational wealth, but there are things that you can manifest literally, like instantaneously. It's actually so crazy when this stuff starts happening to you that literally if you try to communicate that this happened to somebody who didn't have that same viewpoint, who was on a lower dimension, if you're in 5D and you are trying to explain something that's 5-dimensional to a 3-dimensional person, they literally aren't going to understand at all. Like, they're going to look at you and be like, this person is fucking insane. You don't care about possessions or status, or like, you are full of gratitude and you are so focused on loving everything without any conditions that there's no like actual need for desires at that point. Like, you still have desires, but you know you don't need, like, you don't need them. You don't feel attached. You don't feel possessive of anything. You realize that nobody is yours, and we are all experiencing life and going with the flow of life and becoming, always in a process of becoming. So everything on the levels of consciousness chart, they all vary between death, which has an energetic frequency of 0 because you're not conscious, you're not alive. So death is 0 all the way to 1000, which is full consciousness at the 12th dimension. And this is basically the journey to enlightenment. But also, if you notice, the higher you go on this chart, the higher the amount of love there is within you. But if you also notice, the higher amount of love, the higher dimension you can jump to. So the more love you have within, and the more joy and the more positive feelings, and that all is love in essence. Loving yourself, loving everything around you. The higher you go, the higher the dimensions you can jump to. And this chart was developed by David R. Hawkins. He has so many great books. I really recommend you to download the free workbook that comes with these pages of the dimensions, explaining the dimensions, because in the workbook it teaches you how to quantum jump to different timelines, all for free. 78 pages of free value that you can use to quantum jump, to learn how to manifest, to learn how to become your best self.